crafters, and welcome to Creative Moments by G. I'm G, and guess what time it is? It's paper pumpkin time. We are so excited about this new paper pumpkin. It is called Countryside Inn. Now, we bought the additional part that you could buy that gave us some dies that you could use to also stamp what the images are and then cut them out. So let's head down to the crafting table and let's get started. Now, this is the stamp set that we coordinated it with because you have stamps and you have dies, and this coordinated just perfectly. We also used some DSP. This is Countryside Inn DSP, and we picked up some of these really beautiful lines and flowers. Now, here are just some of the envelopes that they gave you. Look at that. But now this time you really couldn't cut them because it didn't have any DSP paper on the inside. Now, if you wanted to, you could go ahead and cut this flap and maybe cut out some strips, but we didn't do that. It also gave you some beautiful cards just like this that allowed you to cut these in half and use them as a mat. It also gave you some cards that used the Calypso coral color and then some blue, boho blue, but we used all those in our cards. Now, we're gonna make one today together, and then we have 7 more cards to show you, so stay with us. But let's get busy making this card. Now, the first thing you need to do is go ahead and cut your base card, and this is just a mat. So it's 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, but I want to go ahead and mat it again. So I'm just using this boho blue to cut my first mat, which is 4 by 5 1/4. And we can go ahead and just lay this down. Now the card that we're going to make is called a point-to-point card. And we actually have a video on how to do this with all the measurements. So check below the video and you'll be able to click on that link to go and watch this completed again. So we're just gonna lay that down just like that. Now the next thing that you need to do for this point-to-point card is you need to cut 2 rectangles, and these are 3 by 4. And then you just score 1 inch on the 3-inch side, turn it 3 inches in your trimmer, and then score 1 inch. And we're just going to crease that just like that. Now, we need to create a point. So you're going to take this. Now, this is very heavy cardstock because this is one of the cards that we cut apart so that we can use this beautiful cardstock that they gave us. But it is heavy and it is kind of hard to fold, but you can do it. So go ahead and give that a good crease and reinforce that line. And see how we have this point now? We're gonna do the same thing to the other one. Just folding it to that line and creasing it. Fold it to our score line and give it a good crease. Use your bone folder. And look at that. We have our crease lines just like we need. Now this is going to open up landscape. So we are putting this right on the side just like that. Let's go ahead and put some glue and lay this down so that they don't come up. Just hold it for a minute. We're going to do the same thing to this one. And now we are going to add this to the back of our mat. And you'll see it just like that. It actually creates a nice little border. So let's just add some glue. Get this centered. and fold it over. And now we're going to bring in one of the pieces from the kit that they gave us. Look at this. This was already cut out for us. But remember, if you have this countryside corners, you can cut out some additional mats just like this one. So this is how it's going to lay. It's going to be right here. And then we're bringing in another mat that I used the dies that I have, and I'm bringing in that Calypso coral. So let's go ahead and lay this down. Now, when Monty and I worked on this paper pumpkin, we were so impressed because the cards that we were creating gave us such an elegant, old-time kind of feeling, and we really liked that. So I think when you see the additional 7 cards, you're going to see that theme. They're very elegant, and they kind of have an old feel to them, but we really liked it. Now, we also are going to use the pots that they gave us, the vases, and we're going to add that to the front on dimensionals. But we need to go ahead and stamp our sentiment. Now, you can use any sentiment you want. The sentiments that they gave you were very small. Now, I blew this up twice as big as it really is. These sentiments are very small. And so I wanted to use a bigger sentiment. So I just picked this from one of my stamp sets, and I'm going to use Night of Navy to stamp it. So tap, tap, tap. Now, my vases are going to go here, so I need to stamp it on the left-hand side, right in the middle. Thinking of you. Now, this is going to act as a guide so that when I put my vases, I can line them up. So I'm going to just see where I want them. And I want it just like that. But I want them up on dimensionals because I also cut out some leaves. And remember I said, they didn't have leaves in this kit, but we all have just lots and lots of leaves in our other stamp set. So you can use whatever you want. So I'm going to just add a few dimensionals right at the bottom. And I'm going to keep it close to the bottom because I'm going to add my leaves and I need that spot right there to glue. And then on this smaller one, I'm just going to put it right at the bottom. So let's take off the dimensional backing. And let's just see where I want this. I want this one about right here. Okay. And I'm going to put this one right over it. Right there. Now look at this. I'm bringing in boho blue. And look at those beautiful leaves. Aren't they pretty? Now remember, this is going to go right on the front of our card. So we have a little bit of space right up here to go ahead and bring it. You don't want to go over because you want it to fit inside an envelope, right? So let's just get a little bit of glue right here. Just going to slip it in, just like that, and push it down. And now I'm going to slip this in, and we just need a little bit of glue on this. Okay, now look at that. Oh, we're almost done with this card. Now you need to know where to put the glue because you don't want this to close. So what I'm going to do is get this lined up about where I want it, and I'm just going to flip this over, and now I'm going to trace a line on the back of this. So I'm just going to use my pencil just so I know where to put the glue. So we'll get some glue right here. Get this lined back up. Fold it over, make sure it's straight. You still have time to wiggle it just a little bit. Now, give these sides a really good crease again. Bring in that bone folder and just crease it really well. Then this will stay down. Now, if this was a darker color, I would put some white there, but it's not, and I wanted the contrast between this frame right here and the inside. So here is our card. Don't you love it? This is called Point to Point. And remember, I'm going to link below the video if you're interested in watching another video using this technique. But just love this technique. Now you can also create this portrait just like this if you put your vases the other way. So however you want to do it. Look at that. Love this card. Okay, let's start bringing in our cards. Now here is a card we made. We used our diagonal cut and we used that very interesting stamp that they gave us. You can create a beautiful background with this stamp. We brought in another stamp because we needed just a small stamp. Now they do give you those dots right there. Aren't they pretty? And they're Night of Navy, so they're very dark. But now look at these vases. Let me tell you how you can do that. You can use a dauber and you can just do the Night of Navy and then the boho blue, but you're not going to get a really nice crisp line right there. So what we did is we went ahead and just inked it up right down here on Night of Navy, stamped it on our paper, cleaned it off, and then stamped just right to that line in boho blue. And the reason you can do that is it's a photopolymer stamp. So you can see very clearly where that line starts. So that allows you to get the definition between the two colors. Loved this one. And it has white on the inside, so you don't need to mat it or anything. And this was one of the cards that they gave us. We simply cut a diagonal out of it. And you see how it has an old feel? I really like that. Now we did another diagonal card, and this is one of the cards. This is the Night of Navy card that they gave us. We used our Countryside DSP to cut this diagonal. We cut a strip and put it right there. And then we cut the flowers out from the kit. We stamped some leaves from another kit, cut those leaves out, and of course this sentiment is just one that we grabbed from one of our stamp sets. We set these up on dimensionals, but when you go over this vase, we didn't put a dimensional, so be mindful of that. Put your dimensionals over here so that it can fit flush against that container or that vase. Okay, now look at this one. Once again, we used the card that they gave us, and we simply cut another card out, cut a strip. This is the frame, and we cut out the center so that we could use those flowers, and look how beautifully that stamp works. That's Night of Navy. Just loved it. You see how it has that old-time flair? Love these cards. They're so elegant, and I just know that anyone would love to receive these. Now look at this one. This is monochromatic. We decided to go all Calypso Coral. And look at those little flowers that we stamped. That comes in the kit, and they cut out perfectly with that additional die set that we ordered. I love how this little vase stamps. So pretty. And we also embossed that right there, the Calypso Coral, and we used our Countryside Inn dies for this one. Look at the different layers that it gave us. And now we have this one. Now look what we did on this vase. We did the same thing. We stamped it at a diagonal on the Night of Navy, and then we cleaned it off and we used boho blue. So there's so many ways that you can stamp and be creative. We also used their little flag that came in the kit. This is a card that we simply cut off the top part and added it to the Night of Navy card. And we decided to do a landscape on this one. We cut out several mats using our Countryside Inn. We used the vases. We used their Hello Friend that came with the kit. And we cut out some additional leaves. Now, finally, we decided to do a lattice card. Look at this. We used the frame that they gave us, but we cut out using DSP and the Countryside Inn dies. We cut out another frame and added the lattice behind it. We added some leaves, the little flowers that come with the kit, and the vase that comes with the kit. Also, Hello Friend comes with the kit. And then we added some boho blue on the inside. It's light enough for you to write, but just enough difference to really show through the lattice. So take a moment. Which is your favorite? We loved this June paper pumpkin. It really coordinated just perfectly with our Countryside Inn bundle that we had. We hope that y'all liked it too. If you were inspired, take a moment, subscribe to our channel, share it with your friends, and help us grow. Go out, make it a fantastic day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.